Hello guys and welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk about that something strange is going on with ARK Invest, and this could be signaling the bottoming of the market, and I want to walk you through this. Obviously Cathie Wood needs no introduction. She believes in disruptive technologies, and in 2021 she has disrupted a lot of people's portfolios. She gets a lot of hate, and it's very interesting because I saw her first before her Tesla investment blew up, and I remember in 2019 she was called into CNBC so that people would laugh at her with her ridiculous Tesla stock price, and then the world turned, and then she was called into CNBC as the expert opinion because everything that she has said turned out exactly as she said that it would turn out. And I believe that in 2020, she has been the best ETF ever in recorded history and made, like, don't quote me on this, but over 100% as an ETF in your money. And then in 2021, she did the opposite. And so she has both trophies, the best and the worst. And she has really disrupted a lot of people's money. But why is this important to us? Well, first of all, the market has a tendency to over-exaggerate things. So what does she invest in? Because if you actually listen to her investment thesis, she has a very logical investment thesis, and she's saying that the disruptive companies are not included in indexes, meaning that the next Apples and next Teslas and the next Microsoft of the world, they are not yet included in indexes. And everybody who invests into index funds, they are taking a risk because there is these new upcoming technology companies that are going to be the next Apple and Microsoft, that are going to have, this 10x, 15x, 20x growth, that are going to disrupt these companies. And, most of the people are missing out on this because they're just passively investing into index funds, okay? So she is painting this picture of a very binary world where you are either in her innovation stocks and then you're protected from the fall of Apple, or you believe in, Apple, Microsoft and Amazon and the big dogs, and then you're basically short innovation. It's not exactly like that, but it's actually somehow quite close to the truth. Let me show you what I mean. So as we all know, the S&P 500 has gone to the moon after the pandemic with all the stimulus and all the Fed money printing. And this has basically mostly benefited the growth stocks. The Teslas, the Coinbases, the Pelotons also, the Zooms, and these companies saw incredible return. Why? Because, the economy was shut down and it was only innovation that was going to save us because we were in a brand new environment. And money was very cheap, so it was, no problem for these companies to raise money. It didn't matter that they didn't have a profit. But we went into 2021, we knew that this would end, and then people started to be more and more risk off, and then a different kind of uncertainty was coming. And this uncertainty was that, okay, we printed 40% of all the US dollars in existence, in the last year. This is probably going to create inflation. The supply chains are completely messed up, and people were like, oh my God, we're very uncertain which companies are going to survive this, and then people betted on Apple, Microsoft, Google, all these big dogs. So basically you slowly started seeing the growth stocks go down, and these Apples and Microsoft holding really strong, basically fueling the market to all-time highs. And then in November, even this got pulled because the inflation went too high. The Fed announced that they will basically start destroying money. And then there was nowhere to hide in the market. But I want to show you the stocks that Cathie Wood owns. So this is the S&P 500. And you see that the S&P 500 started plummeting basically in 2022. It was on an all-time high around, basically with the year end. But if you look at Cathie Wood's biggest holding, you look at Coinbase. The only thing it has done is it has been falling, but it's since May 2021. Then you look at Teladoc. You see that they peaked out in February 2021. Then you see Tesla. Tesla is actually quite a big dog. So they peaked out in November 2021, just like the rest of the market. Then you look at Zoom. They peaked out even earlier, October 2020. They already peaked out. Roku, they peaked out in February 2021. Block peaked out August 2021. Exact Sciences peaked out in January 2021. So you see, these stocks started falling way before the market. So they basically were signaling a cooling off on the market, and these were the first ones to fall. Now everybody has been devastated, and things started to get crazy low prices. And how crazy low the prices have gotten, I mean, a few examples I can show you. This video is shot on May 16th, and I believe a few days ago Rivian basically almost came down to its book value, meaning that it had $18 billion on its account, no debt, and the stock was worth a bit more than $18 billion, essentially valuing the company at zero. And needless to explain, you can't really fall more than this. As a company, you can't be really worth more. I mean, if they fall from this, you can essentially buy the company, sell their assets, which is basically money that is on the bank account, and you would make for sure money. So very hard to see that the price would go lower. Then I did my stock evaluations on Teladoc, Tesla, Palantir, obviously. And these are still growth stocks, and you have a thesis and you see how much they're going to grow, and you have a price target. And basically, as long as the companies are growing, the lower the price goes, you are de-risking your investment, right? And Teladoc, for example, has gotten to such a low valuation that if they basically just don't go bankrupt, they will 3x. And I mean, that's very, very low. Like, how do you go lower, right? And why am I telling you this? So the reason why this is interesting is because I believe that in this market cycle, it's not going to be only bear market. There is going to be a future bull market, right? The inflation is not always going to be very high, and the Fed is not always going to be increasing the interest rate. This is going to turn. And I believe that then the first stocks that are going to turn will be the first stocks that led the turn, which is the growth stocks. I mean, think about it. What would have to happen for Cathie Wood to be wrong? When you're saying that Cathie Wood is going to go bankrupt, her fund is going to go to zero and disappear, essentially what you're saying is that there's going to be zero innovation in the US. There's not going to be any new technologies. EVs are not going to be the future. AI is not going to basically improve where it's at. We reached saturation in AI, and that's also an absurdity, right? Like, I mean, I agree with you that Cathie Wood was crazy overvalued. Like, her stocks were crazy overvalued. But we have gone really on a pendulum swing here, and we're almost saying that, yeah, screw everything that Cathie Wood has done. She was completely wrong. There's no innovation. We have reached the top of society, and Apple and Tesla and Microsoft, these are always, there's never going to be a new trillion-dollar company. Basically, this is what we're saying. And this is also impossible. Never going to happen. Here's the very interesting thing. I started seeing articles like this. Cathie Wood ARK Innovation sees the biggest cash inflow in a year. And then you start reading this article, and it basically says Cathie Wood's fans are pouring cash into her flagship ARK Innovation ETF, the growth stock fund that is starting to rebound from the steep losses this year. The ARK Innovation pulled in $366 million on Tuesday, the biggest inflow in a year. So basically, this is kind of big money, maybe not necessarily all retail money, but people are starting to say that, yeah, we think that the ARK Innovation funds have gotten so low that this is really, really de-risking. ARK Invest 75% decline in its flagship ETF haven't stopped investors from pouring $1.3 billion into the fund in 2022. That is not small money, guys. So while I believe that Cathie Wood was the first one to fall and she had the worst performance throughout this crisis, I believe she will be in the canary in the coal mine. And it's very interesting to take a look at her stocks. And I believe that you as an investor will do a crazy good service for yourself if you sign up for my Patreon and look at the valuations that I do. Okay, jokes aside, if you look at the stocks that she's investing in, do your own due diligence on them. And if you feel that your risk-reward ratio allows you, I think some of the stocks are amazing investments. And maybe some stocks that she's not invested into, like Palantir. Check out Palantir. All right, let me know what you think. Let me know if you also agree that Cathie Wood is the canary in the coal mine. And I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.